We're pleased to welcome now Major General Bobby Ginn, the Adjutant General of Mississippi. Major General, good to see you, sir.
Good to see you. Thank you for having me here today, Gerard.
So, when were you appointed by the governor into this role as the Adjutant General?
So I was appointed 1 August as the Adjutant General by Governor Reeves, and just so honored to be able to lead this organization after being, of course, a part of it for 34 plus years. So
in that role, you were succeeding Major General Jansen Boyles. Of course, we know him as Durr. General Durr Boyles, who served our state with such distinction and honor.
Without a doubt, just one of my mentors. I worked for General Boyles for a long time. It's huge shoes to fill, without a doubt. General Boyles has done a lot right. I mean, set up the blueprint for what's right for our organization. And I just want to certainly continue to build off of that platform that he has laid for the last 8 years for our great organization.
So you had, I believe you had an event on September 6th, is that right, with the governor and the First Lady?
We did. What a great event. We had an assumption of command there at the Capitol, and to my knowledge, it was the first time we had ever done an assumption of command for the National Guard at the Capitol. It was a beautiful event, and I was just so honored that the First Lady and Governor Reeves would have it there, and it was just beautiful, just amazing. Great setting, great venue, and had a lot of people, not only within the military but outside the military, say it was just a wonderful event. So just humbled and honored that we were able to do it there.
So you just told us that you've been associated with the Guard for 34 years. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And so what's your background with the Guard there?
So by trade, I'm a logistics officer. I worked at Camp Shelby for about 25 years. I had a maintenance shop there, the largest maneuver area training equipment site in the country. A lot of the 155th tanks and Bradleys are housed there, along with the 278th Armored Cav out of Tennessee. So worked there for, I guess, about 22 years. And then from there, I went over to be the commander of Camp Shelby from 2017 to 2020. And along that stint, I've had different jobs throughout the Guard, from Philadelphia, Mississippi to Greenville, Mississippi, in all three different subordinate commands. So very familiar with the day-to-day operations. And when I left Camp Shelby, General Boyles brought me to Jackson to be the G4 for the state as the logistics officer for the state. So, and then from there he brought me in to be the director of the Joint Staff for a little while, and then it just kind of went from there. So,
what are you prioritizing as the Adjutant General?
So, when it comes to prioritizing, my number one priority is going to be human dimension, the human dimension aspect of the Mississippi Military Department. Elements of this line of effort will affect approximately 12,500 soldiers, airmen, civilians, and family. We're certainly going to focus on developing and empowering our leaders, taking care of the team, building trust, and cohesion throughout all of our units. Certainly, modernization will be my number two line of effort, and just some examples of modernization is the 155 is fielding some new joint light tactical vehicles, about 350 in about 6 months, and some new self-propelled howitzers. So as we move forward, the Mississippi National Guard has certainly got to stay on the forefront of getting the new modernized type of equipment, not only for a state mission if need be, but also a federal mission as well. And then, of course, the training piece. We've got to stay focused on the new types of, techniques, tactics, procedures, of the training management of our organization. So.
You were just sharing with me offline that you had an event this morning, right?
We did. We had a wonderful event this morning. The 172nd had approximately 150 airmen that are deploying to the CENTCOM AOR, and they left out this morning. We were able to go over there and shake hands and see their families and spouses, and the governor came, and it was a great event this morning. So they're on a 4-month deployment over to CENTCOM, and they'll do a wonderful job, outstanding job. And it was just so energizing to see these young men and women just ready to go support our nation do great things over there, and certainly represent Mississippi and our country.
What about our base footprint with respect to the Army and then the Air National Guard in Mississippi?
So we, in the Air National Guard, we have the 186th up in Meridian, and then the 172nd here in Jackson, and then of course we have the Combat Readiness Training Center down in Gulfport, and then on the Army side we have of course Camp Shelby down just south of Hattiesburg, and Camp McCain just south of Grenada. So we have a lot of installation base type support. I tell people all the time we're very fortunate because our National Guard, we have an Armor Brigade combat team, we have an Aviation Brigade, and we have an Engineer Brigade, which is for a state our size is really we have a large National Guard footprint. So
interesting.
Yeah.
Is there anything in particular you'd attribute that to?
So I think it's, I think over time we've had some really good leadership in the last many years, and I attribute that to the leadership that we've had, people looking forward, being on the forefront, knowing what we needed, and having congressional support as well, not only at the state level but certainly at the federal level as well, and that is attributed to our National Guard being where it is today, our leaders from the past.
You talked about one of your priorities being to modernize the Guard within the state. Recently, I believe you had a ribbon cutting for a flight simulator in Meridian, right?
We did. We had a flight simulator there at the 186th Air Refueling Wing in Meridian to cut the ribbon. A long-awaited KC-135 flight simulator. It's certainly a state-of-the-art simulator that will greatly enhance mission readiness and provide $8 million of flight hour cost savings, while only costing about $1 million to operate. So that was a great event, and then after that, I guess it was the week after, we cut the ribbon on FMS 9 there in Brandon. I know a field, when I say FMS, field maintenance shop. We've been working on that for about 20 years, and it is a state-of-the-art maintenance facility that will support about 35 different units within the Mississippi National Guard. So I think we'll have other states coming to look at that state-of-the-art maintenance shop there in Brandon to kind of see what the latest and the greatest looks like, and how it will be able to support the new type of equipment that the military is fielding every day. So
we have some Mississippi Guard that are serving in Germany?
We do. We just got back from Germany Sunday night. We've been over visiting with our 155th Armor Brigade Combat Team Headquarters Unit based out of Tupelo, Mississippi. About 160 soldiers over there, and they've been training the Ukrainian Army. To date, they had trained about 2,700 soldiers, and we had a chance to meet with some of the Ukrainian Army soldiers, and of course met with our leadership, and they'd been training them. Basically, it was leadership type of courses that they've been training on, and some NCO, non-commissioned officer developmental courses that they've been training them on, and the Ukrainian Army was super receptive and just very thankful, and our kids, our young people, our young officers, our young non-commissioned officers just doing yeoman's work over there in Europe, without a doubt.
So, General, when someone signs up to be in the Guard, I mean, they realize this is a possibility, right, of being deployed?
They absolutely do. This morning, the 150 some odd airmen, it was all volunteer. They held their hand up and said, "Hey, I want to go. I want to support this mission," and they do know that, and that is certainly what makes our National Guard airmen and soldiers special.
Wow, that's incredible. You know, I've had the honor of doing the show down at the Armed Forces Museum, Mississippi Armed Forces Museum, in the heart of Camp Shelby.
Right.
We'll talk about it on the other side of the break, but what an asset that is to the great state of Mississippi.
Huge asset. When you've got over 100,000 soldiers, airmen, all different services training every year there, having a 136,000 acre installation is huge, and the economic impact that it gives to our state is just unbelievable. And great leadership down there, and just lots of exercises. And Shelby has always been on the forefront of training.
We'll keep talking about this after the break.
Yep, absolutely.
We got Major General Bobby Ginn, the Adjutant General of Mississippi, in the Element Well studio. We're coming right back. Welcome back, everyone. It's Major General Bobby Ginn, newly appointed Adjutant General of the state of Mississippi. So we were just talking offline, but Major General Boyles, of course, phenomenal leader and Adjutant General. He left the Guard in pretty good shape.
Without a doubt, he left the Guard in really good shape and pushed some issues that had been, I know, other adjutant generals in the past had been working, but the educational benefit that our young men and women in this state today can use to go to college with, and basically it's $10,000 a year getting in the Guard for a young woman, young man to go to school on. That's historic. I mean, that's great, and it helps us, and it helps us in our recruiting and retention, and of course, again, we're going to take that line of effort and we're going to build on that and continue to hit recruiting and retention and build incentive packages for our young men and women to want to serve in our National Guard.
A lot of the work as a member of the Guard and the tasks there involve preparing for stuff you hope never happens. Honestly,
absolutely it does. I had a coach one time that told me that practice makes permanent, and you prepare and you practice, and when you get into the game time situation, you're prepared.
Yeah,
and you can appreciate.
Oh
that.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, absolutely. So what sort of training exercises have we had the Guard undergoing here?
Yeah, just during this past year, we've stayed busy training, serving in response missions from the natural disaster response in March of 2023 tornadoes that tore through Mississippi, the devastation in Monroe County hit home for the Mississippi National Guard because our Amory Armory there was destroyed during that natural disaster. We are currently in the design and planning phase to rebuild the Amory Readiness Center there in the future. We do not have a definite start date for that construction yet, but as soon as we know, we'll be making those announcements. We're wrapping up summer training down at Camp Shelby. We finished a successful training exercise, Southern Strike Exercise 2024, and we actually have we have a Taiwan training mission going on down at Camp Shelby as well, with the fielding of some M1 tanks to the Taiwan Army. So that's a big deal as well. So we got a lot of training going on, and of course RTI, our Regional Training Institute, they continue to train a lot of soldiers from all three compos down at our Regional Training Institute. So we've got a lot going on in the training world.
And we were talking before we went to break about Camp Shelby. General, I'm not sure there's another compressed tract of land in the state of Mississippi that's been visited by so many people from across the world.
That's right. I mean, you go back from 2004 to 2014, where Camp Shelby deployed over 250,000 soldiers through there in support of Iraqi freedom and enduring freedom, and then just the training piece it's an important and vital part to the strategic military training piece, if you will, without a doubt. But yeah, you're right. We train anywhere from 100 to about 120,000 servicemen and women across all our services there per year. A lot of special forces groups from AFSOC to our SF, to the Navy SEALs. A lot of units come in there and train, and they like coming to Camp Shelby because it offers so much, from the ranges to the different types of ancillary items that Camp Shelby has to offer. So, and
of course they're not within the gates and the confines of the camp the whole time they're in, so they get to experience Mississippi and Mississippi culture and people. What do they say about that?
They enjoy the food. They enjoy spending time on the Mississippi Gulf Coast. In the Hattiesburg area, and I'm not sure the exact number now, but it was at one time it was well over 38,000 retired military people that lived in the Hattiesburg area. So, it's no secret that whole community is military friendly. So as soldiers and airmen and Marines and even the Coast Guard come down and train and they go out into the community in the Hattiesburg area, it's military friendly. So they enjoy it and they want to come back. And I've heard soldiers say many times that has deployed from different installations. They've always told me that they felt special at Camp Shelby because they felt like they were the number one priority in a deployment when they deployed through there, and that means a lot.
Yeah,
it means a lot.
So 34 years now, you're the Adjutant General. What keeps you motivated to continue to serve?
This just like this morning when we saw these young airmen and getting ready to step on that C-17 and go overseas. Just young, energetic, good-looking young men and women going to serve our country, wearing the cloth of freedom for this country and this state. It just that's what keeps me up. And when you've been part of an organization for 34 years that's been so good to you and your family, you want to give back and just give it all you got to make things better for our young men and women.
Mississippians have always answered the call, and we got to do a little plug again for that Armed Forces Museum at Camp Shelby.
Oh goodness!
You really gain an understanding of just how much Mississippians have been involved through the years in military service.
Absolutely. Matter of fact, I was down there yesterday visiting with the curator Tommy Lofton, and you just walk through there. We had a board meeting yesterday, and it just makes you feel so good when you walk through there and you see how many Mississippians are in there and what they've done for our country throughout the last many years and basically every conflict, since World War I for sure, and just the hall there that's got all the Medal of Honor recipients, and it just makes you proud to be a Mississippian. So
there's absolutely no doubt about it, and it's appropriate that we have a place where we recognize, we honor, and we've preserved that history.
Absolutely, it is. And Tommy Lofton, he worked at the D-Day Museum for many years down there in New Orleans, and back when I was the commander at Shelby, we hired him from there. Of course, he's a Mississippian originally from Vicksburg, and then we brought another gentleman in from the D-Day Museum down there, and I hear all the time that our Mississippi Armed Forces Museum at Camp Shelby is second to none. It's fantastic.
I believe it. No doubt about it.
I think we had almost 100,000 people visit it last year. So it's just getting bigger and better every year. So.
This week we've seen the reports about what has occurred with these Hezbollah. Honestly, they're terrorists, I think, with these pagers blowing up. Warfare has changed with technology, has it not?
It has, and as the battlefield changes constantly, and we have to stay ahead of the game. And it's funny you mentioned pagers because we have a generation of young people that. They're like, what is a pager? And we're like, cannot believe you don't know that. But it is changing, and that's part of our job as professional servicemen and women is to continue to try to stay ahead of that and combat that for sure.
Yeah. So, cybersecurity, constantly have to be vigilant about that.
Yeah. We absolutely big deal. Our Guard is we have a 2nd Detachment 178 Cyber Protection Team, which is a fairly new organization to our organization. There, we joined with Louisiana and Texas to complete this dynamic team of cyber protection professionals. That is certainly a unique skill set within their community, and that's a huge piece. That's another whole domain that we're working on, and down at Camp Shelby, we're trying to, or we're getting to where they can train multi-domain operations, and cyber being one of those, and that keeps us on the forefront of training for for really all three compos of our military.
And not only that, but the soldiers and airmen, this gives them skills that they can utilize in the private sector.
That's exactly right. They can retire from the military and they can take that out into the civilian sector, and all of a sudden you've got a subject matter expert out in the civilian sector, which will just continue to build and help within the civilian sector and the military sector as well.
So. Really is incredible. Well, General, it has been quite the honor having you here today, sir. Congratulations on the appointment. I know you will lead the Mississippi National Guard with honor and distinction as your predecessor did, and we look forward to your continued service, and most of all, thanks to the men and women who've served Mississippi in the National Guard.
Yep. Thank you, Gerard. I appreciate you having me here today.
Yes, sir. Enjoyed it.
Yes, sir.
Folks, we're stepping aside for a break. We're coming right back in the Element Wealth studio.